Hello, and welcome to Return to Regalia, an Underland Chronicles reread podcast. I'm Una.
And I'm Lily.
Today we'll be covering chapters 19 and 20 of The Marks of Secret, in which the group rescues Ripred and Gregor and Luxa argue some more. It has been a very long time since I've worked on Return to Regalia. It's been months and months. So if anyone missed the updates on Tumblr and Instagram, I've just been really busy. My job gets really busy in the summer, and for a while I was the only manager at my job. It's still going to be pretty busy for the rest of summer, but then I'm hoping in the fall it will calm down a little bit and I'll be able to put out some more episodes. No promises, though. Life is just very busy these days. But I'm really happy to be back.
I'm happy to be here. I feel like it's been so long since I've been on the pod. Like, almost a year.
Yeah, probably.
Which is crazy.
Right?
But I'm happy to be back for a good set of chapters.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think of these chapters?
I like them. I feel like the tension is really ramping up. The stakes are getting higher. Also, I reread The Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
Just the first one so far, but I'm, rereading the series since I last was here. And I feel like it's made me appreciate, the themes a little bit more.
Care to expand?
Well, I read this interview with Suzanne Collins, and she was talking, it was at the end of the Hunger Games book, so it was about the Hunger Games, but she was talking about how she wrote the Hunger Games as an exploration of just war theory, just as in righteous, or maybe not righteous, but appropriate war.
Yeah.
And she wrote it because the Underland Chronicles were an exploration of unjust war. So I think having read that, gives me kind of a newfound appreciation for what she's trying to say with this book series.
Yeah, I remember you telling me a little bit about that earlier, and I've been thinking about it since you told me about it, just that is totally the difference between Gregor and Hunger Games. Is there's a lot of similarities of these protagonists being dropped into this war, this conflict, these unjust societies, but then the reasons that they go to war are different. They're still kind of forced into it, but there's different motivations there, which I love. The juxtaposition of that. It makes me want to reread The Hunger Games. Yeah.
And it's a lot of the Underland Chronicles are different cultures fighting, seemingly for sometimes no reason other than bigotry, honestly.
Yeah.
And fear. And in some cases, you could say that maybe some of these problems could have just been talked out and people could have come to an understanding. But in the Hunger Games, that couldn't have happened because there was an oppressive government that ultimately was just trying to hurt people for hurting people's sake.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess they were doing it out of fear too. The Capitol was hurting the districts out of fear as well. But it was more to hold on to power rather than to hold on to their life, which I feel is what the Underlanders were trying to do more.
Yeah, I'm really interested in just the subtle differences in Regalia versus the Capitol or that kind of thing. Yeah, I'd love to do a deep dive about that sometime. Maybe we can have a bonus episode where we just talk about Hunger Games and Gregor.
That'd be fun, yeah.
Should we get right into these chapters?
We should.
Where we left off, Boots had just fallen into a pit in the ground where Ripred was being held captive. Chapter 19 is the beginning of Part 3, The Queen, and it begins with Howard trying to figure out how to help Ripred. Luxa, on the other hand, knows just what to do. She hops into the pit, slides down the side, and draws her sword. At first, Gregor thinks Luxa is going to kill Ripred, but then she hits his teeth with her sword, and one side cracks off in jagged points. What do you think that Ripred is, thinking in this moment? Do you think that he thought Luxa was going to kill him, or, did he know what she was going to do?
I'm sure. I mean, it happened so fast. I'm sure his first thought was oh shit. Oh crap, she's going to kill me.
Oh, she's super mad at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gregor thinks about the time when Luxa almost let him and Ripred drown in quicksand. I'm sure Ripred is also remembering that. He was pretty mad at her for that when that happened in book 3.
I mean, she hasn't really shown too much that, like, in most cases, her first instinct is to, like, kill or let things be killed.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
She's very, what's the word? Vindictive? Or, like, she's very, like, I don't know, she's righteous in her anger. Like, she definitely believes, she has very strong opinions about what she believes, and she's willing to, like, fight for those, which is a great character trait, but it also means that sometimes she, like, attacks first and asks questions later. Ripred tilts his head up so Luxa can break the other side of his locked teeth. As soon as his jaws are free, Ripred tells Luxa that they're even now, referencing how he told her she'd owe him when he told everyone the story of the Garden of the Hesperides in Book 3. Luxa says this isn't an even trade, though, and says now Ripred is in her debt because she just saved his life. Ripred just says, "I hate that," and Luxa replies with a grin, "I bet you do." I love their little banter. Like, they're really such... This book especially is where they become, like, not friends, but, like, allies, but, like, not even allies, just kind of, like, Ripred becomes, like, her advisor, and I have notes about this later, too, but, like, they just become very, like, used to each other and how they operate, and they, like, work together more and more. I love that. Ares lifts Ripred out of the pit while Aurora gets Luxa and Boots. Howard takes a stone to Ripred's teeth in an effort to even out the sharp bits. It says, Gregor knew it must be killing Ripred, who was so relentlessly powerful, so universally feared, to be sitting there while a human filed his teeth. Guessing an audience would only make things worse, Gregor mobilized the others. I love that Gregor is noticing this and, like, being a good pal to Ripred. Like, again, with the emotional intelligence, Gregor is like, wow, Ripred must hate this. I'm gonna try and make this, like, a little better for him by, like, getting the others to go do other stuff, so we're not just, like, watching Howard fix Ripred's teeth. Yeah,
it's really sweet. Also, like, can we talk about how that would feel and sound if you were getting your teeth filed by a rock?
Oh, I bet.
I mean, our teeth are different than rodent teeth, but still. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I can imagine it's like getting your teeth, like, drilled at the dentist, but, like, rougher even. Yeah.
Sounds awful.
That would be bad. After the bats and Temp bring back some fish, Gregor cuts them into pieces and combines them with water and breadcrumbs to make what he calls a fish mash. I think it would be so funny if we made, like, a Gregor cookbook and we had, like, his silly little recipes of, like, fish mash, or, like, I don't know, he makes some other weird food on the journeys, but then we could have, like, actual real recipes, like Mrs. Cormacy's lasagna or whatever. But
yeah, that's such a good idea.
That would be so fun to do.
That would be really fun.
Boots wants to feed Ripred, but again, Gregor thinks this would be too much for the rat, so he feeds Ripred himself.
I feel like that's worse.
Like, Gregor does it?
Yeah, because, like, Gregor's, like, they're more equal. I feel like it's weird to have, like, someone that you're training. I mean, they're not equal, but, like,
right.
It's weird to have, like, your apprentice or whatever feed you. But a little kid, like,
I feel like, depending on the person, that could be true, but I think Ripred really dislikes Boots.
That's true.
And thinks she's annoying, and
that's true.
Yeah, and she would be doing it in a way that was like, oh, I'm, like, feeding, like, a baby or a puppy or, like, whatever, and Ripred doesn't want that. Meanwhile, Gregor has the, like, awareness that Ripred is, like, he knows who Ripred is, so, like, he's doing it respectfully, but Boots would not be doing it, like, with respect.
Yeah, that's true.
After Ripred is feeling a little better, he asks, so what brings the Children's Crusade into the Firelands? Luxa says they got lost on a picnic, and Ripred tells her not to lie to him, because isn't he always honest with her? Gregor brings up the time Ripred tricked his family into coming down to the Underland in Book 3 by telling him they only had to attend a meeting, not go on a whole quest. Ripred says, my comments were very open to interpretation, and you happen to be easily misled. basically saying, it's your fault for being so gullible, Gregor. He continues, as for the queen, who is difficult to lead anywhere, I have always been and intend to be entirely straightforward. Again, like putting himself in the role of her advisor and just like kind of promising like, hey, I know that you can't be like tricked or manipulated the way Gregor can. So I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. You can trust me. I like that. Ripred has like a different sort of respect for her than he does for Gregor. Like Ripred definitely likes Gregor's like attitude about things, and they have like their own kind of relationship, but then Ripred's relationship to Luxa is a little bit different.
She's very competent.
Yes. Yeah, he admires
that.
Yeah. Luxa reveals their goal of finding the Nibblers and drawing the Regalian army after them. She tells him how she said the vow to the dead in Hades Hall, basically declaring war on the rats. Ripred says, it seems like only yesterday you were a baby bouncing on your grandpa's knee, and now you're starting wars. They grow up so fast.
When he says stuff like this, it's like so easy to see the parallels with Haymitch.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm just thinking about comparing things, but yeah, that just like jumped out to me. That's totally something that Haymitch would say.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I need to reread Hunger Games.
Pretty good.
Yeah, because I remember, I mean, it's been so long. It's been more than 10 years since I read those books. I've seen the movies more recently. But yeah, I remember Haymitch, like, as a character, but I don't remember, like, specific lines that he has, but I'm sure that a lot of them, like, I could totally read in Ripred's voice.
Honestly, like, he doesn't really have a lot of, like, bangers in the first book. He's mostly just, like, drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
I think he, like, has more in the second book. And
Yeah.
And then I haven't read the new book.
Yeah.
Sunrise on the Reaping.
I have not either. I have, like, kind of heard about it. I've heard it's good. I've heard people like it. But I have not read it yet. Maybe someday soon I will. Right now I'm on a dark academia kick. Are you aware of this genre?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am trying to write a novel that has dark academia elements.
That's fun.
So I'm trying to research the genre by reading dark academia. So I started with The Secret History by Donna Tartt, because that's like the OG dark academia. And then I read some more that are kind of like cheap knockoffs of The Secret History. So after I exhaust like all of the dark academia lists that I've found, then maybe I'll swerve into Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I knew, this is an aside, I don't think I knew that dark academia was like a book genre. I knew it as like an aesthetic.
That's what I have heard from a lot of people, actually. Yeah, it's definitely like hard to describe as a book genre, but if you ever read The Secret History by Donna Tartt, it's like totally that whole like pretentious classics students in a small town in Vermont or somewhere, like committing murders and having a great time.
That sounds really good.
It's a really good book. The Secret History is 5 stars from me, and it's awesome. Yeah. Okay, Gregor. Luxa asks what Ripred would have done in her situation, and he says that under different circumstances, his answer would be to hunt down the Bane and kill him before he could cause more chaos, but obviously that didn't work since he got captured. Gregor asks if it was the Bane who put Ripred in the pit, and he says, no, of course not, it was the Bane soldiers. Gregor is amazed at this, since he sees Ripred as essentially indestructible in a fight. Ripred says, even a rager can be outnumbered, Gregor. I start to crack at about 400 to 1. Which is a quote that Gregor remembers later in Book 5 when he sees Ripred fighting an army in the Firelands. Ripred then makes a comment about Gregor's fight with Twirltongue under the palace, which forces Gregor to tell everyone the story of how he got beat by the 3 rats when he lost his light. When Gregor says, you were right, Ripred, in regards to Ripred always telling him how important learning echolocation is, Ripred says, I think it's all been worth it just to hear those words from that mouth. Yeah, I love, like, Gregor is not as competent as Luxa in a lot of ways, and Gregor's very resistant to Ripred. Like, Luxa and Gregor are both very resistant to Ripred, but Gregor can be kind of, like, stupid about it in that, like, okay, clearly learning echolocation is going to be an asset in the Underland, but he's just, like, refused to put work into it, and Ripred is like, now you see why I was trying to get you to learn this. Yeah. Luxa is pretty angry at Gregor not telling anyone about the rats running around under the palace, and even Howard expresses concern. Ripred tells them not to blame Gregor because he and Vicus never told Gregor to bar the door to the palace during his echolocation lessons.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, he does say, like, give the warrior a break. Of course, Luxa remains angry at all of them, and she and Ripred get into a little bit of a fight before Howard puts an end to it. Ripred asks Howard, "Who are you again?" And at first, Gregor thinks Ripred is being rude on purpose, then realizes Ripred has never actually met Howard, so he introduces them. I love this moment. It's just, like, silly. Like, I wonder if Suzanne Collins was writing this and, like, realized that Howard and Ripred had never been on a quest together, and she's like, oh, wait, I need to, like, introduce them. And Gregor's just like, yeah, that's Howard. His dad runs the fount. That's Ripred.
Yeah. No, she was probably like, what the heck? These two haven't met before?
Yeah, it seems impossible, but It's true. They have never been, like, on the same quests. I think we don't get, like, any interactions between Ripred and Howard, but I feel like Ripred would have a lot of respect for Howard. Howard's very practical. He's very, like, skilled. I think that they would like each other if they had more scenes together. Ripred agrees with Howard that they can't keep fighting with each other if they want to help the mice. Luxa says she doesn't need Ripred's help because the Regalian army will be here in a few days to free the Nibblers. Ripred ends the chapter by saying, "In a few days, there will be no Nibblers left to free." Dun dun dun.
Do you want to know something really sad?
Yeah.
When I was walking up to your apartment, there was a dead mouse in the parking lot.
Oh, no.
And I was like, foreshadowing.
Oh, man.
I'm just sad about it.
Life imitates art.
Yeah, so true.
Oh, man. Yeah, intense chapter. It's just going to get more intense. Are we ready for chapter 20?
Yes.
All right, Luxa asks what Ripred means because the Bane just said he's, quote, driving the Nibblers to a place from which there is no return. Ripred says, "My dears, there is only one place from which there is no return." When they realize this means death, Howard asks how the Bane plans to kill every single Nibbler. Ripred admits he doesn't know, but he's sure that's the Bane's goal. Cartesian speaks up to agree with Ripred, talking as if he's still at the Nibblers' Fount colony. He urges his fellow mice to fight back against the rats, arguing that because the humans wouldn't let the rats keep the land they stole from the mice, there must be a different reason for the rats to be driving them out. Luxa assures Cartesian that she believes him, but when he sees Ripred, he freaks out and starts asking repeatedly, "Where are the others?" Howard doses him with some medicine, which knocks him out. Gregor's narration says, "The mice had argued then about whether to fight the rats or go quietly, and Cartesian's side had lost. Gregor bet it was Cartesian who had scratched the scythe into the cave wall." I love this image of, like, we get this glimpse of what happened back at the Fount colony of, like, the rats showing up to drive the mice out of their homes, and some of the mice are like, oh, if we put up a fight, that'll just be worse because they're just moving us to a different home, and if we go quietly, then we'll survive, and we'll just make a new home somewhere else. Like, this has happened before. It sucks, but we're going to survive. But Cartesian is like, why would the rats want this land, though? Because it's too close to the humans. They're not going to let them keep it. So what are they going to do with us? Like, they're not driving us out just because they want this land, so what's up? And I can just imagine, like, the debate between the mice of, like, what they should do. And it's just really heartbreaking that, like, Cartesian's side lost.
Mm.
And we know how that ends for these mice. Super heartbreaking.
It makes me think that if the focus of the Underlander Chronicles was a little bit different, then it would be about just war.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, this is so awful.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what Luxa is getting at here, too, is, like, you don't like that I declared war on the rats, but what are we supposed to do? Just let the rats do this? Like, what's the solution here? And Gregor's narration is, he's struggling with this throughout this whole book of, like, yeah, Luxa declaring war was not good, but, like, if she didn't do that, then what were we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that he ever really comes up with, like, a real answer for that, which is interesting, and it really kind of makes you think about just, like, the theory of all of what's going on in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, is there like a, quote, correct solution to the problem, or what?
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne Collins is such a good writer.
Mm-hmm.
Gregor says they need to get to the mice to warn them, but Luxa hasn't agreed to let Rip Red join their group. Howard convinces her that they need him, but Luxa says she won't follow Rip Red's orders. Rip Red agrees to let Luxa make the plans, and they take off on the bats.
I think his response to her is, like, another example of how he, like, respects her more, because he never relents to Gregor, I feel like. And he's like, fine, I've given enough orders for a lifetime, you make the plans. Of course, if you'd like my advice at a given moment, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah.
That's, like, so respectful.
Right?
For him.
Yeah, I don't think Rip Red would ever, like, let Gregor make the plans. I don't think he trusts him like that.
Mm-mm.
That is such a good point, yeah. They fly slow enough so Rip Red can run along the ground beneath them. As they travel, Gregor wonders how the Bane is planning to kill the mice, remembering other ways he's seen one species try to take out another in the Underland, like starvation and the plague. After half an hour, Gregor realizes Rip Red isn't doing well, but he figures Rip Red won't ask to stop even if he needs to. This is, again, like, Gregor recognizing that Rip Red has this, like, certain persona that he's trying to maintain of, like, the tough rat, and that he won't ask for help because he's kind of got, like, this pride about him. When Gregor points out Rip Red's condition to Luxa, she says, "He is too rotten to die."
Mm-hmm.
This makes Gregor snap at everyone to stop and land. Luxa says that he doesn't give the orders here, and he replies, "Neither do you, not to me anyway." Back on the ground, Gregor rearranges everyone so that Talia is flying with Temp on her back and Ares is carrying Rip Red. Luxa asks, "Oh, now you are in charge?" And Gregor replies, "Why does one of us have to be in charge?" Rip Red makes a comment about Luxa being bossy even as a baby, which is great. Luxa says she's just trying to help the Nibblers, and Gregor says, "Really? Well, you're not helping them by hurting Rip Red. And I don't care if that makes you mad, Luxa. Get mad. Don't talk to me. How will that be different from about 95% of the time anyway? You're always mad at me for something. Usually, I can't even remember what. What's it matter? I don't live here. I'm just visiting. Anything that I've been doing to help you, that's just a favor. Not something I owe you. And when we get back to Regalia, I'll be sent home and we can forget we ever knew each other, okay?" Everyone goes quiet, and Gregor realizes he took things a step too far because Luxa actually looks hurt. Even Boots tells him, "Grego is too loud," and holds Luxa's hand protectively. Howard offers to ride on Aurora with Luxa so Gregor can ride on Nike. It says, as he climbed up on Nike's back, he felt Rip Red's eyes on him. "What?" "Nothing," said the rat innocently, but Gregor noticed his nose give a deep and distinct sniff. And this comes back later when we learn that Rip Red can smell that Gregor and Luxa are in love.
Ooh. I feel like everybody would be able to smell that by now.
I know! Everyone is it's like very obvious.
It's like she's mad at him all the time. They have outbursts. Like...
Yeah. Especially in this book, they've been fighting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also had a lot of, like, really good moments, like deep moments together, which just makes it even more notable when they're fighting, because it's like, oh man, that's not good.
Tensions are high, emotions are a lot.
Yep, they sure are.
How old are they at this point?
12.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know what the heck they're feeling.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. As they fly, a breeze of sulfurous air picks up, and Gregor tries to remember what he said in his outburst to Luxa. He realizes the thing that must have hurt her was when he said, "We can forget we ever knew each other." His narration says, he tried to imagine Luxa saying those words to him and realized how awful it would be. To suggest it would be possible to forget the last year, to forget what they owed each other. Without Luxa, he would have been killed his first night in the Underland. He would never have gotten his dad back. Boots would have died in the rat's maze. And he had done things for Luxa, too. Good things. Things he was proud of. Saved her from the spinners. Helped find the plague cure. He was here now tracking down the Nibblers, wasn't he? For better or worse, their lives had wrapped in and around each other since the moment they'd met. He didn't ever want to forget he had known her. So good!
So good.
It's so good. That poetry of the last part there, like, their lives had wrapped in and around each other since the moment they'd met. That's just, it's so good. It's so true. Like, they're so entwined just by virtue of being thrown into these situations together and, like, saving each other's lives and helping each other's families. It's very good.
Yeah, I remember when I first read these books as a kid, I was, like, so upset that Gregor just leaves at the end of book 5, but I don't think I thought about the fact that, like, even though he's leaving, like, they're never gonna forget each other. And also, just because he's leaving doesn't mean that, like, they still didn't, like, shape each other's lives for the better. And I think, like, sometimes that's enough to, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just watched Normal People for the first time. I don't know if you've seen that
I'm
show.
not familiar.
It's based on a book by Sally Rooney, and it's about these, like, two people that are, like, kind of really connected emotionally in high school. Like, they have a romantic relationship, and then they keep, like, kind of moving apart and coming back together because of, like, miscommunications or, like, anxiety or, like, things like that. But they keep coming back together, and then at the very end, like, you know, I think 15 episodes in, they're finally together, and it feels like they're communicating for the first time, and they've expressed that they love each other for the first time, like, both of them at the same time. And then one of them gets a opportunity to go study abroad, and it's, like, a really good opportunity.
Oh, wow.
And they choose to make the decision to, like, one of them is staying, one of them is leaving, and they're not making any promises, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because what they've had together has been enough. Like, they've made each other better just by being together.
I love that so much.
Yeah, and it's, like, unsatisfying as a viewer, kind of, because it's like, but you want them to be together, like, you want them to continue growing and being good together, but also, like, sometimes that's just how life is. Like, Gregor wouldn't have been able to stay.
Yeah.
Like, he had to leave.
Exactly.
And maybe that's okay. And maybe it's not, like, it's a little bit tragic, but it's also not tragic because it's really just good.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not very eloquently put, but...
I love stories like that where, like, characters make a decision to separate for any sort of reason, but they kind of acknowledge, like, but we'll never forget each other, and what we did have together was important and meaningful. In one of my favorite books of all time, Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, which is in the Locked Tomb series, I won't give, like, spoilers, but there's a character who is kind of, like, preparing for her death in a way, and she's afraid to leave, and another character tells her, you can't take loved away, which is like, we loved you while you were here and you loved us, and that love is going to exist in the universe regardless of what happens next. And even if you can't keep existing after this, you can't take loved away. Like, the fact that we all loved each other while you were here is forever, and you can't take that away. And it breaks my heart every time I get to that part in the book. But I've been thinking about that a lot recently, just like, you, like, stop being friends with people or whatever, and even if that had to happen for life to go on, it will never take away, like, what you did have together while you had it. So that reminded me of that too. Yeah, and Gregor and Luxa remind me of that, of, like, even if they do have to separate. Because when I was a kid, I also was very heartbroken about the fact that Gregor leaves at the end of the book. And it's kind of left open-ended as to whether he might come back or whatever. And I do like thinking about the fact that maybe he'll come back, but I also do agree that, like, thematically it makes a lot of sense for him to leave and never come back to the Underland. So even though, like, as a kid you read it and you're like, oh my god, all of that was for nothing. He's got to leave and he'll never come back and they'll never be together. And, like, what was all that for? But then you grow up and you realize, like, no, it mattered. Even though he has to leave, all of that still stays with him for better or for worse.
Yeah. And he still, like, learned about himself through the process and got to, like, learn about another person so deeply. And that, even just that, is, like, beautiful. Yeah,
it is really beautiful. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about the ending.
Yeah,
I could go on and on about the ending, but for now, Gregor asks Nike to speed up so he can talk to Luxa, and it says, Gregor worked on his apology as they caught up. I'm sorry, he thought. That would be a good opener.
I feel like people forget that, though.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good reminder. I think Suzanne Collins does a really good job of, like, walking the reader through, like, healthy thinking patterns.
Yeah. Right?
Like, even just, like, the way he, like, is, like, replaying what he said and being like, oh, if she said that to me, this is how I would feel.
Exactly.
And, oh, I should probably start with I'm sorry. Like, most people, like, forget those things. I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, in relationships, you know, like, people mess up and then, you know, get caught up in their own ego and, like,
exactly,
forget that the most important thing is to just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's, like, it really is a good opener. Gregor is so good at apologizing. I feel like I didn't realize this, but I kind of, like, learned how to apologize from Gregor. Like, in book 3, there's a scene where he apologizes to Lapblood for saying something rude about the rats, and in his narration, he's like, his dad told him that if you did something bad in front of people, you need to apologize in front of people too. So that, and then Gregor, like, doesn't hesitate, like, to just apologize to Lapblood out loud in front of everyone. And I feel like I have definitely learned that kind of thinking from Gregor. And like you said, it is really good at just taking you through his thought process and his way of seeing other people's sides of things. He's really good at that. Yeah. And then the chapter ends with this. Gregor swallowed and leaned forward so he could speak quietly. Look, I just wanted to say and that's when the currents hit them. Which is a great ending to the chapter. She really does cliffhangers so well.
You just have to be a little quicker with that. I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah. And then he kind of doesn't get the chance to say it because so much happens after this. But I think Luxa knows what he was gonna say. I think they know each other well enough by this point that she understands. Yeah, some good chapters. Lots of Gregor and Luxa conflict and emotions. Lots of good Ripred and Luxa and Gregor. Yeah, love that Ripred's back in the mix. So glad to have him back. He just brings, like, an element of comedy to the team.
It's really good.
Any other thoughts on these chapters?
I don't think so. They're good ones. I'm glad I picked them.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Lily.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was really good to come back with these chapters after months of not doing Gregor for so long.
And then end on another cliffhanger.
Exactly. I'll have to hurry up and take my notes for the next chapter. The next episode of Return to Regalia will cover chapter 21. Find us on Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Return to Regalia, all one word. If you're ever looking for updates on the podcast, like if it has been a while since I've updated and you're wondering where I'm at, you should definitely check Tumblr or Instagram, because that is where I will update people on the status of the podcast. You can subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. Thank you for listening, and until next time, fly you high.